Hey, welcome folks to our weekly BrightID AMA. It is November 10th. It's been a rough week in the crypto world as FTX is blown up. But that's the garbage. That's the nonsense. That's the noise. That's not what we're building. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep building because we believe that these tools can make a better world for all. So that's how I'm going to start things off. We don't have a specific topic this week, but happy to delve into any issues, questions people have. I will note BrightID's had a busy week with the CLR round going on down for East Columbia. Lots and lots of new users have been coming into connection parties to get verified, have been trying Unitap to get their Arbiter Ether. That has led to some growing pains. We found some issues. Our dev's been hard at work fixing those issues. I think we've gotten many of them fixed. There's still a few lingering ones, and we'll continue to work to get those things ironed out and get this stuff working for everybody. So with that, people have specific questions, feel free to put them in the chat or pipe up if it's quiet. I see someone has asked about B2 verification support. So, B2, if it's actually a support request, I'm happy to dig in more. The bigger problem with B2 is you need to get people that already have it to already know you, which can be tricky if you don't happen to know people in that ecosystem. So if you want to provide more specifics about your question, let me know.
I think that we can address well, you just mentioned about the CLR ETH Colombia Quadratic Fund, right? So they just, I don't know if this video is going to be soon. It's going to be fast, right? That this video is going to be uploaded on YouTube. Today, tomorrow?
Adam, does it happen automatically?
Well, it's definitely not automatic. So
because there was a rumor, heavy rumor, that the Quadratic Fund, they are going to do some kind of airdrop for this ETH Colombia, and they explain that there is no announcement or official nothing about an airdrop. So
who's gonna do an airdrop?
No one's going to do an airdrop.
Well, what's the rumor? Okay, the rumor is false. Whatever the rumor is, it's
right. The rumor is that people that donate to the CLR round might get an airdrop. That has never been true of any of the CLR rounds. That said, people can choose whatever list of online transactions that they want as the basis for any kind of gating that they want. We haven't seen that done. There was talk a year ago about people doing that for like Gitcoin donations. We didn't ever really see that play. I don't. The reason to participate in the CLR round and all the other CLR rounds is because it's great technology helping projects that are actually trying to do good in the world. So please support them because that matters, not because you're going to get some personal gain out of it. That's not the point.
Right. So when a year ago when we airdropped Bright, we did I would say like it was a big chunk of what was airdropped on the first day. It was like, I don't remember. I won't try to say the number because I don't remember, but it was a big chunk. What we airdropped was to people who had donated on Gitcoin, not to us, but just to anything. But if I were launching Bright today, I wouldn't do that. I would put it in Unitap's token tap. And I think that's a much better way than because I think even the people that donated to different projects on Gitcoin are not necessarily going to be interested in using Bright tokens. Like you want to get it in the hands of people who want to use it, not people who just want to like sell it. So the cool thing about Unitap is you get to choose between a bunch of different things. Like, do you know what the limit is right now for the gas tap, Philip? Is it 5 that you get to choose from, or it's 5? So there's so the way the gas tap works is there's a whole bunch of networks. There's like over 20 networks on there that you can claim gas tokens for, but you get to pick 5 every day. So if you wanted to collect all, what's that? Or every week, right? Every week. Sorry, not every day. So if you wanted to rotate, you could like go through the whole rotation, like it's every month or something. But most people aren't going to do that. They're going to pick the 5 that they like the best. Maybe some people won't even pick 5, but up to 5 that they like the best, and just collect gas tokens for those as needed. Like for me personally, I've used it a few times, and like I just use whichever ones I happen to need. I don't like come back every week and get tokens. But with project tokens, I think people will probably be coming back every week, because let's say that I wanted to vote in BrightDAO and Gitcoin DAO and be a OneHive keeper and vote in OneHive DAO. And so there's all these cool project tokens that I like, or Giveth as another one. We're going to see all these tokens in Unitap when the project token launches. And so I will be going there once a week and just picking up my 5 top tokens for that week that I like the best and getting them. And I think that's a much better way to distribute governance. And that's how I would do my token airdrop if I were launching a DAO right now. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's interesting. I wonder if the amount that you can give out is enough. Especially like
that is a thing. It's like giving everybody crumbs of like Bright token when yeah, because I remember there were times when I would go and vote in OneHive. Someone be like, hey, there's this important OneHive vote, and I had like 3 honey or something like that, and I would go there and I would see like all these other people with like hundreds of honey voting, and I'm like, does this even matter? I have like my stack is so small, is it even worth voting? So yeah, there is that. And I don't know what the answer for that is for something like BrightDAO. Like how do you encourage the small stacks to want to participate? Any thoughts?
I think it's tricky. That said, right, so in the United States, we just had national elections earlier this week, and you know, more than 100 million people went out and voted. They all had a statistically insignificant vote, right? Everyone gets 1 vote. There's 100 million casts, so really your vote doesn't matter, except that the majority of us, thankfully, choose to participate in that, despite the fact that our individual vote, is unlikely to actually change any outcome. But we do it anyway because we care. So I guess maybe the reason that works where it falls down in the DAO space is that at least I know that all the other people all still have that same 1 vote, right? My vote is just as important as everyone else's, and I don't walk in and say, oh, my vote's only worth 1/10,000th of that other guy that just voted. Like what's the right? I don't have a sufficient amount of say compared to other people. Maybe that's where the problem stems from.
Yeah.
And that sometimes the voting is for something really transcendental, something really important, and sometimes you are not so involved in the project that you don't understand what the people are voting or something like that. So you prefer just to stay away and do something that you don't know anything about. And if you had a little bit of tokens for the votation, because you are less involved, I think, with the project that you are because we got a lot of tokens for a lot of DAOs, but we are not actively in each of the DAOs reading all the proposals, looking what is the people who are proposing and that kind of stuff. So we vote in the DAO that we are more involved. So sometimes that's what happened, I think.
Yeah. So if we could switch to quadratic voting. So quadratic voting means you take the square root of your voting power. So if you have 10,000 tokens and someone has 100 tokens, then instead of it being that you get your vote is worth 100 times as much, instead you take the square root of both, so you get 110. And so now instead of your vote being 100 times as much, it's only worth 10 times as much. So it kind of shrinks the power of the whales down. If we could do that, if we could switch to quadratic voting for BrightDAO, would you be in favor of that? I would. Any thoughts?
Right now,
certainly
I don't.
Entertaining.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything about that because I think it's something really.
I wonder. I don't even know if it's compatible with conviction voting. That may be an issue. That may be a difficulty why we don't see it, because you can do quadratic voting in Snapshot, but you can't do it in Gardens. And I wonder if that's because it would be tricky to incorporate it with conviction voting. I don't know. But I like that. I like that idea. I like the idea of limiting the power of whales. So
I don't know. On the other end of the spectrum, we have not talked about this in years. We used to regularly talk about liquid democracy. And
so that is something you can do, and well, you can delegate your vote in Gardens and in Snapshot.
Right, but we don't see a lot of it. So I don't think it's reasonable that millions of people are going to regularly participate in the governance of most DAOs. I haven't seen evidence that that's true, but I want those DAOs to make good decisions, and delegating model, I think, could be very helpful with that. So I'm a fan of delegating authority.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not just changing a switch in the Gardens. So what you need to do is integrate BrightID so you can secure the civil resistance of the quadratic voting, because that's the deal.
That's
One
true.
person. So
that you need that too. But with the delegating thing, that is kind of flipping a switch because for Gardens, because they already have it. Who uses that? The Give It DAO uses it. I don't know if OneHive uses it. I haven't looked. But yeah, you can delegate your votes. I think you can actually do it in BrightID and BrightDAO. I think you can,
but there's not a culture of
right
doing that. There aren't delegates saying, "Hey, please delegate to me." Like I want the authority in Gitcoin and on ENS DAO, and like there's a variety. Or what did I recently got some? Safe DAO. You know, when you claim your tokens, it was immediately looking for who you wanted to delegate. Like that was the expectation for everyone in the community, is that unless you specifically wanted to be voting, you should delegate. And maybe that's a little too heavy-handed. I don't know, but I want the votes to be used by people that know and care, that are actually thinking about it, are gonna participate anyway, and just get more votes to those people. I was able to delegate my tokens to a personal friend and someone I've worked with for years that I trust has the the industry, the DAO's best interest at heart. And I know that he will pay far more attention to all this than I would. So great. I just don't have to worry about it anymore because I know I put them in the hands of someone who knows what they're talking about. I like that because that's specifically in the context of SAFE, as opposed to like, I just voted for, governor of my state. Well, they're in charge of all sorts of things. That person I voted for governor is not an expert at 99% of the things that I just authorized them to be in control of. They're like an expert at none of them, right? So I'm not a big fan of, or like senators is one that's really always gotten me, even more than governors, is senators. Like, they control all the levers of everything and they don't have any expertise in anything. Why are they the ones that have the authority?
Well, in the way that you guys made BrightID and you want to be for the future, because the fear is not what is happening right now, is the bad thing. I mean, the votation in the DAO, there is only the people that care, that are involved in the project right now. The fear is that in the future will come someone that want to make harm to the project, right? And get power and get that because you guys give the tools to the community and maybe are using in a bad way for the project or something like that. So I think this is a discussion that needs to be held really thoughtful, really slow. It's something that cannot be done one day to another because it's really important for the future of the project. Because right now, what the DAO do is the normal maintenance and working of the project, the daily working of the project, right? There is no a kind of votation right now, or it's not going to happen soon, that is going to change the core of the foundation of BrightID, right? So I think it's not worth maybe wasting time and emotions thinking about something so important right now. Maybe more, maybe more, I don't know, because the DAO is BrightID, right? In the end. In the end, the DAO, I mean, when there is DAO.
But let's just clarify, there's a lot of DAOs and none of them are BrightID. BrightID is open source software. It's a public good. Nobody owns it. Nobody controls it. There's a whole slew of DAOs that have like BrightID that work to help BrightID, focus on BrightID. None of them are BrightID.
Yeah. So what I mean is worth to clarify that too. What happened if in the DAO came some votation that say we are going to change this from BrightID? So what happened then? What happened next? That votation passed. So what is going to do? I mean, some votation that by the community, by the people, that the delegation people. What is going to happen next? What is the matter with this Bright DAO and the Bright project? What is going to happen? Because you are muted, Adam. The microphone. Do you get me? No. Nope.
I think maybe we should have a proposal to buy Adam a new microphone.
Yeah, we can do that.
I think I just need to quit, Chris. I think it's malfunctioning. I just, yeah, I'm gonna stop using it. But anyways, yeah. So, what was your question again, Victor? It was
what is really that important?
Something that changes in, so someone makes some proposal in BrightDAO. So like right now we have a proposal up in BrightDAO. Here, I'll share my screen so you guys can see it. Let me find one. Yeah, so I was just looking at Celeste. It's really cool. Let's look at BrightDAO. Let's see, DAO.brightid.org. Okay, so something went wrong. Maybe we can look at it anyway. Hopefully we can look at BrightDAO today. That'd be nice.
Mm,
Are you guys seeing something wrong too with
Let me
it?
check.
Mine just loaded up. Mine just loaded up.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's Firefox.
Mine too.
Do one of you guys want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
There's a proposal in BrightDAO right now to auction some Bright from the community pool if there's enough investor interest to buy at least $100,000 worth of Bright. So that is just that's not actually requesting money at this point. That's just saying, that's just getting that one. So right now it's like the support has grown to 45%. So this is what is this called? It's called like I forget, there's a name for this type of vote. It's a suggestion. So this is a suggestion that will probably grow. Looking at the trajectory, it's probably going to grow to be much more than 50% of the total support if things stay on their current trajectory. So what does that mean? That just means that the voters think that this is a good idea. But let's say that what Victor's saying happens, and there's some vote that says we should stop making BrightID like I don't know. We should
Ooh, let's start charging $8 a month for verification.
yeah.
Yeah, as an example.
Well, I don't think we could do that because who would charge?
Well, I mean, Elon was talking about charging $8 a month for Twitter verification. So
Yeah, right. So what if or what if they said like, okay, let's stop protecting people's privacy, and it's just gonna be a lot easier to detect civils if we like collect I don't know, whatever sort of data, like just real names and like photos of passports or something like that, and keep them all in a public database or something like that. If that vote somehow passed, let's say that someone bought like millions of Bright just so they could pass some stupid proposal like that. So first of all, I'd probably get challenged. But even if it didn't get challenged, because maybe it's something that's not quite so dramatic, but something that changes the core of BrightID, then and let's say that it got the support of the voters, it got a majority of the support. Well, that's still up to the node operators of BrightID whether or not to install that software. So there's like another layer of and like it's similar to Bitcoin or Ethereum. Like you have to convince the node operators to adopt it as well. So it's not
even before you have to convince the node operators to run it, you have to convince the developers to write it.
Yeah, you have to convince some developer. But let's say that you are a developer, or you have some developer working for you, and so you buy a bunch of Bright to get this vote passed, and you're like, look, we already have the software. Here's BrightID like SV or something, and this is what all the nodes should run. So then the node operators would still have to choose if that's what they want to do or not. And then not only that, but the front end, so right now we have the BrightID mobile reference app. They would have to build an alternative front end. So it'd basically be like they're forking BrightID to do something like that, which could happen. Like you could fork BrightID, it's open source. So can the community vote to fork BrightID? I mean, they don't really have authority, but they're just saying that's what we want to do. And if they want to do that, and people want to build it, and people want to fork it, and the community splits over it, that's fine. That can happen. We can't stop something like that, and we're not trying to stop something like that. So
right now there is no a full necessity to improve or enforce something in the DAO. I think a votation on Discord or on Twitter is enough to know what the community wants.
well, I don't like votes that happen on Twitter and in discourse. I prefer the gardens system.
Okay,
I like it. I like
that's a
the
strong point.
I
The
like
sensation, the vibes.
voting. I think conviction voting is cool, especially when you have a covenant and you have Celeste. So I like disputable voting a lot. Everything that happens in BrightDAO is disputable through Celeste. And if you guys don't know what Celeste is, you should check it out, celeste.onehive.org. You should become a keeper. I was just telling people before we started the recording that you should become a keeper because it's important to be able to dispute things and to have basically a jury to be able to weigh in on those disputes. And that's what you're doing if you join Celeste. And it's gated with BrightID so that you can't just like stack the jury with a whole bunch of Sybils. So yeah, you should sign up for Celeste. You can earn money doing it. So it's a cool way to support One Hive, which is the organization that built the Gardens DAO that BrightDAO uses, and to just participate in the democratic process by being a jury member. So yeah, check out Celeste. Yeah, and then so I'm not, yeah, so I think BrightDAO, all it does is it decides how Bright token is going to be spent. And then, like Philip said, there's other DAOs that decide how other money, like donations from Gitcoin, are going to be spent. Like donations from Gitcoin don't go to BrightDAO, like some people thought when like someone challenged us in Gitcoin and made it so that we missed our matching one round, which really sucked. It's because they thought that that BrightDAO had somehow like raised money or something like that. But BrightDAO doesn't even get those donations. BrightDAO can't get those donations. BrightDAO can't hold any funds except Bright. So it just determines how the Bright gets spent. And I think it'll be cool in the future if BrightDAO, like Unitap wants to use Bright for governance, and the way they can do it is when they get income in different tokens, what they can do is they can take that income, they can swap it for Bright, and then put the Bright back into that they get for those tokens back into the community pool, and then make proposals so that the community has a say in how they spend their income. And so that way, if someone's like, wait a minute, like you're doing something that's like gonna ruin BrightID with like you're using Unitap in some way that's gonna hurt BrightID, then the BrightID community can vote against it. So I think that's pretty cool that they're willing to do that. And I hope that other projects that rely heavily on BrightID and don't want to form their own DAO, because it's like, sometimes it's like, you just don't want to do it. It's just too much overhead to run your own DAO. They can use BrightDAO for that. So I think that's pretty cool.
So I don't know if you guys want to say something more about that, about the topic, but I want to address a question that we got on the chat. So if you let me. Okay, cool. So because I mean, this has to do directly with what I do on BrightID and the verification meetings. Adams Eliasu say or ask about, I have tried to verify my BrightID for the past 3 days, and it's been so difficult because I never get accepted in almost all the Zoom meetings to get me verified. So there is a few things to say about that. The first one is that we got meetings all days in a lot of languages, in a lot of different times, and we got a web page to see all the meetings that is happening. I'm going to paste the link in the chat right now, but basically it's no meets, but meet.brighty.org. You can go to that web page and you will see all the meetings that is happening. So you write in English, so I assume that you are looking for the English meeting. So what happens with the meetings, you can see that web page that I sent you that there is a time window that you can join the meetings, and that time window is 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes because the meeting usually takes between 20 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the people that there is. Sometimes it gets to 50 minutes, the meeting. So we cannot let people join in the middle of the meeting because they will lose all the meeting. And so the purpose for the meeting is going to be defeat. So you need to be from the beginning of the meeting to follow the instructions of the host of that meeting. And in that meetings, you are not only getting the verification, but the host will have to give you a lot of information about what is BrightID, the minimum, the basic information about what is BrightID, why we do that meeting, what is the verification or what is needed, that kind of stuff. There is a lot of information that you need to do, basic information about the project. I know that it sometimes is frustrating. Frustrating is the word, yeah. That because you have a friend that knows a lot about it, and he is the one that recommends you to get the verification, and he explained everything to you, so you feel that you got all the information. I don't need to hear all this information about the post. I just need the verification and go. But that is not the general case. That is the exception case. So I'm sorry about that. If that is your situation, but you have to listen to all the meetings. And I don't want to say it like that, but usually that is the kind of behavior of the attackers. They want to do everything easily. So if you are a person that in the meeting, you just came and say to the host, I mean, to me, hey, can I leave now? I just get the connection. I don't want to leave. I assume that you are an attacker immediately, because that's the common behavior of an attacker. So I need to tell you, all the meetings, I mean, we got a lot of different hosts in these meetings, and specifically my meetings are slow because I explain all the information really slow. If the people got questions, I'm going to take my time to answer the questions. So, because if that is your first meeting, it's a novelty, right? So you are just listening, what is happening. But this is your second meeting, going to be boredom, and you will you don't want to have a third one.
Yeah,
So
civil prevention by boredom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my method. That's my
That's
method. With this cues that just like
if it's your first time,
no,
it's really interesting. You're like, wow, BrightID is cool. I'm learning all this new stuff. It's just if it's your 10th time, you're like, oh my gosh.
yeah,
Is it really worth $8
yeah.
the $8 that I'm earning to sell this BrightID? Oh my gosh.
my, my meetings are slow. And yeah, that's one of the reasons that I got few attackers from the Indonesia, because for them it's like 5 a.m. and some of them just get asleep in the middle of the meeting. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, Adams, when you say that you never get accept, it could happen two things. The first one is that you are late, you are not on time, and there is a rare case that the meeting gets filled up, because we don't get, I mean, the Zoom meetings got a maximum amount of people that can join, and we can just verify certain amount of people per connection, I mean, per meeting, more or less 50 people. And trust me, when you got more than 50 people, it's more difficult to manage all the people, the attackers, cameras. So when we were around 45 to 49, 15, that moment we closed the meeting because we don't want to let more people join, because it would be something really difficult to manage. And right now we are not in a moment like 1-2 years ago that we have to got 3 or 4 BrightID staff per meeting. We are usually just 1 staff per meeting. So we not let more than 50 people. And it's rare, but sometimes happen. And yesterday happened, and past yesterday happened, and past yesterday happened, because we are in this moment in a popular how do you call it, in a popular phase of the BrightID verification process, because we are in the ATH Colombia CLR nation. So I have to close the meeting, the English meeting, in 2 minutes after the time. So maybe that is the situation that happens to you. And I know that it could be frustrating to miss the meeting, but that's the reason that we got like 4 or 6 English meetings in different time zones and all days, Monday to Sunday. So the only thing I can say to you, please keep trying. Go to the Discord channel. There is a specifically channel in the Discord server. I'm sorry, this is specifically channel that announce the party reminder. It's going to give you, in the moment that the host is going to open the meeting, usually 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the meeting is going to start, the host is going to post in the Discord server channel party reminder that the meeting is going to happen. So you need to be really, really, really tuned up with that channel, and that's all. And remember, the verification process, you just had to do it once. So once you get it, you don't have to come to another kind of that situations.
Yeah,
And I
please
think
don't.
that's
Please don't come to another meeting.
yeah, it's weird.
Once
It's
you've
weird.
been to one, just stop. That's good. You're done. Yeah, don't be a civil.
And that comment takes us to the next comment in the chat,
Okay.
because one plus Nor say, I am working abroad, and it's really difficult to find someone already B2 verified. And that is something that happened with the B2 verification, and
Yeah.
is that the people tend to believe that if you come to a lot of meetings or verification meetings, you will get the B2 verification, and that is not how the B2 verification works. So please, Adam, can you expand more about this topic?
Yeah, so B2 is an experimental verification. Is Mana is using it, and they've expressed to us a lot of challenges that they have with it. People struggling even to get Mana B2 level 1, which means that you just know one person who's B2 verified, that like that person well. They're a friend, they gave you an already known connection. And that's hard because there's only like 75,000 BrightID users in the whole world. So the chance of any random person knowing another BrightID user is just tiny. B2 doesn't have a good way to deal with that I know of. But I'm looking forward to Aura verification, because I think Aura verification, people are still going to be I guess denied or struggle at first, but there's a way out. Like with B2, we've talked to people where it's like, hey, I would really like to, just tell me what I need to do. Like I'll do whatever I need to do to get B2 verified. And we just have to tell them, like, there's just nothing. There's just, we can't, you just have to wait. You have to just wait around for as long as it takes until someone is, it becomes like connected to someone they know that's connected to, the chain or the whole graph moves closer to you. You just have to wait for the graph to move closer to you. And that's like not, understandably, people don't like that answer. So, and Mana doesn't like that answer either. They don't like excluding their users because they don't happen to be close to the existing social graph. Aura has another option, which is if you want to take the initiative, you can become a verifier for your social group. And this is especially useful for someone who's kind of like outgoing. So if you're not outgoing and you don't, you know, like you said, I think the person who asked this question says, I'm working abroad and I just don't like, I just don't know a lot of people. I don't have a lot of friends. So that situation is still difficult for Aura, because what Aura does allow, though, is someone who's willing to dive deep into BrightID and figure out how it works and help out with it. They can start being an Aura player and start verifying other people. It's kind of like a mini, so there's BrightID stars who run the host meetings and help people get verified. You can think of being an Aura player as like being a mini star. It's like being a mini star instead of for like large amounts of people. It's just, you're just like a mini star for your own little social circle. And you can start playing the Aura game. And I've worked with people that I know, like friends and things like that, to get them ramped up on Aura. And so my sister's comment yesterday, who started like really getting into it for the first time, was like, hey, I thought this was going to be hard. This was easy. Like and I'm going to bring some more people in. And so it's not that bad, especially when you have someone to show you how to do it. And we're happy to show anyone who wants to learn how to play Aura. We're happy to show other people how to do that. And then you can start verifying people that you know. And at this point, like, we're willing, I mean, the Aura players have talked to each other about this. And I think a lot of us are willing to extend. That's one of the nice things about Aura, is you can provisionally extend something called energy, which is the power to verify people, to people sort of on a trial basis. So you can say like, okay, here's someone who says that they are willing to help out and verify their community. Let's give them some energy and allow them to do that. And then you can, within Aura, you can monitor what's happening. And so you can say, okay, are things working out the way that we thought it would? Or you can monitor and be like, okay, this person that we gave energy to looks like they're abusing it, or they're civil attacking, or maybe they just lost interest and they're not doing anything with it. They're not verifying anybody. In either of those cases, we can very quickly just cut off the energy. The existing Aura players can do that. And the nice thing about it is it's decentralized. So it's not like you have to come back to like the BrightID core team or something to ask for energy. You can get energy from anybody who's playing Aura. So it can spread without the blessing of the inner group.
Including, let's say,
yeah.
If you were the person that get it, and then your friend wants to play Aura too, you can just activate them.
Yep.
You don't need permission from anyone at all. Now, the person that gave you energy, or the people ideally that gave you energy, may take a look, and they might ask you about that person and why you feel comfortable sending them energy. But everyone just gets to make their own decisions and does not need to come back. There are already some very well energized Aura players that are distinctly not core team of BrightID and never have been and never will be.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a way to, because I mean, we talked about how congested the meetings are right now. I mean, this is just with 75,000 users. Imagine if we're trying to serve the whole world. Like this model doesn't scale. We can't have a gigantic staff of 1 million people that is like part of the BrightID core team. That's just not possible.
And also to clarify, we never thought that was the way that BrightID was supposed to work.
Yeah, that wasn't even our plan.
Right. These meetings were not supposed to exist.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, who knows what would have happened if we hadn't taken like the shortcut of having these meetings as an interim step. It felt necessary at the time because suddenly there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people that wanted to get BrightID. They didn't know anyone. They didn't know how to connect. How do you get them their first connection? So we started these meetings, but that's not core to BrightID. It was not supposed to work this way. This meets verification that everyone's focused on now, 3 years from now, will not be used for anything.
Yeah.
It just, the majority of people in the world will that use BrightID, assuming BrightID is successful, when there's 1 million BrightID users, a small percentage of them will ever have a meets verification, because that's not the answer. It never was. It never will be.
Yeah, I
That
hope
said,
so. Definitely.
all the connections that happened up to now on the graph, like they're there. That framework is there. All those connections exist. When algorithms, future algorithms that don't even exist yet, parse the graph and try to come up with new verifications, like they can use all that data. This wasn't like wasted effort by the stars or by the people that came to the meetings. It's just not how it's going to work in the future.
Right. Yeah. By the time BrightID reaches 10 million, it has to be something else. It just can't be meets. So yeah, by that point, it'll be a small fraction of people that even ever had meets verification. Everybody will have Aura verification. And I think if we can even reach that scale, that's like the difficult part. It's kind of funny because it's like, the tricky part isn't reaching a billion or 9 billion people. The tricky part is reaching like 10 million, or I don't know what the magic number is, but there's like some like really hard number to reach. And then once you reach it, you've like broken through to where it goes from being extremely rare to knowing someone who uses BrightID to like not that uncommon, and it's not that hard to find someone. Like a friend, or at least a friend of a friend, it's like, okay, yeah, I know someone who uses BrightID and I can get verified. So yeah, we like getting to that magic number, and maybe we should like do some I don't know how to figure out what that magic number is, but it would be interesting to like know if we
I
could.
don't think there's one global number.
Yeah, that's
it's not going to be evenly distributed. So there's going to be some communities where it's easy and some communities where it's still really hard.
That's a good point. Like right now, if you're like, here's a good point. So if you're someone who goes to like follows the Ethereum community around and goes to like DevCon and ETH Denver and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to get any of these verifications,
including B2.
Yeah, including B2. Like it's just, you're just gonna easily get it. That is an example of a community where it's like they're already solidly within this network. But it's just like most of the people who show up to meets are not there yet. Yeah, I mean, I hope that one of the things we want to do with Unitap is to get people more deeply into crypto. Like we want to onboard the next 100 million users into like becoming actual crypto users through Unitap. So once that happens, you do sort of join a new family. It's like it sort of becomes your extended family in a way. In a lot of cases, you start participating in things that and joining communities and becoming connected with other people. It's pretty cool. So maybe that's a way in for that. Maybe that'll be a way in for a lot of people, I hope.
But that now that you say that, the thing with the people that are not really like really, how to say, have experience in the crypto world, or that know a lot, people that have a broad knowledge about crypto, that don't even know what is crypto, just know that there is a crypto. And there is people that use blockchain from years ago and they don't know anything about technical in the crypto world. But you see a different plethora of applications, you see a lot of platforms, and you see a lot of web page, a lot of protocols, a lot of blockchains, and you see BrightID, you like the concept, and you look, the BrightID is used by a lot of applications, and you say, hey, this BrightID thing seems to be a heavy team, a good team. I want to be more involved. And then you see, hey, you got this verification, I will get this one. I want to get the B2 verification. So the people tend to force the things out to in BrightID. They force the verification, they force everything because they think that the more they do, the more connections they have, the more things that they do on BrightID will be better for them in the future because there is a lot of applications that use BrightID. And they don't think the otherwise. They don't think that BrightID is a tool that everyone can use. Anyone, you can use BrightID for your project if you just do a few things. So the people just think, yeah, tend to think that BrightID is like, I don't know, when you see that Ethereum Foundation, like you say just now, Ethereum Foundation use BrightID for their applications or for their projects or kind of things like that. You think that BrightID is something really heavy that has a lot of mainstream power on the crypto world, something like that, when it's not the situation. That right now, I mean, because in the future could be happening, but right now it's not like that. So the people tend to force things on BrightID. And in that process, maybe they make mistakes. They go to look for group connections and Telegram, or people on Twitter making connections that they think, oh, this guy should be someone famous or someone important, and just start making connection with the scammers and things like that. But I mean, the solution or the answer to that problem will be education, right? But what can we do? We cannot do anything.
Yeah, that's
That's
one thing I'm
the
gonna
human
miss
behavior.
about meets. But the one thing I'm going to miss about meets when we scale to the point where we can't do it anymore is it's a pretty cool way to get educated. It's kind of like you have to come here to get verified, and then you also get to learn from an expert what it is and get some hands-on experience and some explanation there in the meeting. And it's a fun meeting. So like you get to see people from around the world, and you get to learn how to use BrightID, and the hosts are really cool and nice. And so people, like most people I've talked to, have a good experience with it. But like you said, people that are trying to rush things don't have a good experience with it. So yeah, on the one hand, it's like, if you want to be happy, you have to slow down and take it easy. But at the other hand, you have this fear of like missing out. Like, I want my Gitcoin bonus, or I want my Unitap crumbs or whatever. It's like,
No, you get B2.1 and you want
it will
B2.2,
come.
B2.3, B2.4, and you want to get all the B2s that you can get. You don't
Yeah.
care about what it is, but you want to have more. That's what the people tend to think.
Yeah. So it will happen. It will happen. Like it will all come in time. Everybody will get BrightID verified. In the future, it won't even be anything that you think about. It'll just be like, by the time you know what BrightID is, you'll already be verified. Like, but you'll just grow up with it. So it's kind of like, by the time you learned what a social security number was, you already had one. It'll kind of be like that with BrightID.
We got Gmail accounts for our kids before they'd ever used a computer,
Yeah.
because it's a useful thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a funny time. It's a weird, growing, funny time for BrightID. So hopefully we can get through this and get to the tipping point, whatever that tipping point might be. So
I had to drop out
yeah.
because the Spanish meeting is going to start in a minute.
Yeah.
But there is a suggestion in the chat about Adam
Yeah.
Elias too. This is not a verification party. You need to come for the verification party. The next one will be in Spanish. So if you can understand Spanish, welcome. But if not, come for the next hour. Okay, in 1 hour is going to be the English one. See you there, guys.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See you there. And see you
Bye,
next
Victor.
week, everybody. Thank you for coming to the meeting today. Thank you, everybody. I guess I'll end it. Bye.